Hi Pokefans, we have a new Tera Raid battle event that is currently live in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This is the 7 Star Tera Raid battle event for Primarina, which is in Fairy Tera type. As for its moveset, we have Moonblast, Sparkling Aria, Sing and Psychic. Additional moves being Encore and Surf. It also has the ability as Liquid Voice, which is a bit annoying. It also has the Modest Nature. Now, as for Pokemons that you can use, there are a couple of them. For physical attackers, you can definitely try using King Gambit. It is part Dark and Steel type. With Steel Tera type, it becomes quite powerful. You can also try using Scizor, which is Bug and Steel type. It does get Iron Head, which is a really cool move and is super effective as well. Other than this, you can definitely try using Tinkaton, which is pretty powerful, especially its Steel type moves. After all, Gigaton Hammer is a pretty powerful move, and if you are able to max the HP and attack stat for Tinkaton, that is definitely a powerful Pokemon. One last Pokemon for physical attack would be Berserker. It definitely gets some really good moves, and Iron Head with Steely Spirit ability will be pretty powerful. For special attackers, you can definitely try using Magearna or Goldengo. I believe I've seen people using Venusaur as well, which is pretty cool. In my case, I did try using Lucario first without realizing that Psychic might be an issue. I also tried using my Tinkaton. Unfortunately, its stats is really not that great, so I really had to go for a third Pokemon. Finally, I decided to go with Magearna, which I was able to get from my Pokemon Moon game. This was actually a previous save file from a very old game that I happen to have. It's a pretty awesome Pokemon. It is part Fairy and Steel. I did have a strategy, and it actually took me around 6 to 7 times of trying, just because of my bad luck, by the way, to go ahead and defeat Primarina. In the very first turn, unfortunately, I got hit with the sleep right here. This is pretty annoying as you never know when you will wake up. Thankfully, I did have Sleep Talk. This is a pretty special move, and I was hoping that I'll be able to use it to my advantage. If it didn't really use Sleep in the first turn, it will actually use Sparkling Aria, which is a move it really likes to use. My initial strategy was to go ahead and use Eric Impulse in the first turn and then Light Screen the second turn to go ahead and boost up my special defense. That way I would make sure that I wouldn't have too much of a damage. As for the increase in special attack, I'm hoping and relying on the other Pokemons that are around me. The more they do faint, the more special attack stat raises in mine. This is mainly because of the Soul Heart ability that Magearna has. In this case, as you can see, I am doing pretty well. Unfortunately, I'm not really having that good of a luck. I just keep putting back to sleep. But at this point, I figured that I'll be finally able to use Eric Impulse to reduce its special attack stat. This means that next turn I'll be able to survive. Although I might have to heal up once more. I'm only going to do this once. The reason I use Eric Impulse right here in the 4th turn is that it will put up its shield right after this. And once it puts up its shield, I'll not be able to reduce its special attack stat. So this was the last turn for me. Now that we have our Light Screen up, as well as its special attack stat lowered, the only thing left for me to do is to go ahead and use Flash Cannon, which by the way is a really good move. It is 80 powered, but as my special attack increases, I'll be able to use it more and more. Unfortunately, I got anchored into Eric Impulse, so I had to kind of go down here. Once more, I did feel that this was a bad case of bad luck, but at least I was able to escape the Encore by fainting, which is good. From now on, I'll be able to build up my special attack with Soul Heart ability and just try using Flash Cannon. Thankfully, I am still not taking too much damage from the moves Primarina is dishing out right here. Sparkling Aura is doing about, I think, 50 HP. But it is better than before. Also, I do hold the Shell Bell, which is actually giving me a bit of health back as well. If you are going with this setup, go ahead and do the steps I have done till now. Make sure you use Eric Impulse just before it raises its shield. That is very important. After that, you really do not have to worry about using Light Screen. I mean, you can definitely use it, but the main thing for the strategy would be Primarina not using Sleep. I mean, it does have Sing move. Either you have to make sure that it dodges it, or you just have to get lucky and it should not use it. In this turn of me playing this game, thankfully it did not use it after the very first turn, which is pretty good. Unfortunately, in the third turn, it does steal your orb power, so you won't be able to really terrestrialize until 4 more turns. In my case, we have completed 4 more turns, so that is good. At this point, as we have terrestrialized, as well as since I do have max special attack stat and HP, I'm able to tank the moves and dish out pretty good moves as well. I've also gone ahead and increased the PP for my flash cannon to make it to 16. This is kind of helpful as this battle is going to be a bit longer. Even though the time is running out, we're definitely doing way more damage now than before. Pretty good. At this point, Primarina will be using Surf, which is a set move. This is just before its shield goes down, so do be careful about that move. It also tries using Psychic once the shield is down, but as we are not affected by that move, I'm not too worried. Now we did get crit hit right here, but since we are doing a lot of more damage, we're able to heal back pretty well. This is mainly due to the Shell Bell, which is the important item to equip. I think we'll be able to take Primarina down in 2 more turns. The only thing that I was worried about this whole battle was the move Sing. It is super annoying, and using Sleep Talk really doesn't help, as Sleep Talk will just use a random move that Primarina here has. Thankfully, I didn't have to face it. Also, like I said before, this is actually the 7th time I was trying to defeat it. It is a solo battle. It might be a bit challenging, but you'll be able to defeat it. As you can see, I did it right here. Now that we have defeated it, let me see which Pokeball to use. This was definitely more challenging than what I thought. The only reason I was able to defeat it was because of the other Pokemons fainting a lot. Soul Heart is a really good ability and it definitely helps a lot in this battle. Either way, I did go ahead and actually catch it with a fast ball. Here it is. I actually really like its cry. It is so beautiful. Either way, as for the rewards, you do get the set reward if you are playing solo. You might get a bit more if you are hosting the battle. If you are planning to use any other Pokemon that I have mentioned before, definitely go for hosting the battle instead of trying solo out. Either way, here is the Pokemon one last time before we end out this episode. Hope you all will be able to catch this one within the time limit. You all will have a second chance of catching Primarina next week as well if this week is not possible. So go ahead and try it out over there. Either way, here it is. Pretty cool. I think that's all I had for this episode. If you liked it, please put a like, and if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to my channel as it really helps me a lot. If you'd like to support me more on Patreon or Ko-fi, check out the links in my description. And I'll see you all in the next one.